and welcome to everyone else as well. My name is Jerry Watkins, for those of you that don't read. We are facilitating this morning. And we have a few new people on, so let's help give you the flow. What we do is start a new topic every month. And on the first of the month, we actually teach most of this topic. There will be time at the end. We'd love to hear your feedback. But on the second week, we take that same topic and we break it down to make sure everybody gets an understanding, right? And then on the third week, we start masterminding so that we can internalize the information. And then on the fourth week, we focus on implementation, because it doesn't do any good to know better and not do better. Agree?
Agreed.
Correct.
So this morning, because of a special request from E. Marie, and we have, matter of fact, we'll introduce you to the theme with a bit of a song. Okay, so listen in for about 30 seconds. So this is what we're in for.
Maybe it's just me. I can't hear it this time.
No, it's very low.
You can be the King Kong banging on your chest. You can beat the world. You can beat the war. You can talk to God, go banging on his door. You can throw your hands up. You can beat the clock. You can move a mountain. You can break rocks. You can be a master. Don't wait for luck. Dedicate yourself and you go find yourself.
All right, that's not working very well, sir.
No, it worked so much better earlier.
Yeah, your practice run was great.
You can hear, could you, Q?
No, your practice run was great, though.
Hello? Can anybody hear?
We hear you.
Yeah, we can hear it.
So
I don't know what happened. It always does that, huh? Let me see something, just for sake. Can you hear it now?
There you go.
That's better. Do it for your country, do it for your name. Cause there's gonna be a day when you're living in the pain.
oh, it cuts out right there.
Okay. Since we can't hear it that well, go ahead and sing it for us, Jerry.
Okay, well, you get the
please,
idea.
no.
I hope you do.
So Zoom.
Come on, stop playing then.
There's some technology in Zoom where it
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Hey, we should have had DJ Sterling.
Okay, well, that was more complicated than I hoped it would be.
Yeah.
So let me do one thing, and then we will really get started.
See, we have a DJ.
Okay, can anyone actually hear me is what I really need to
Yes,
know.
we hear you.
Yeah, we hear you perfectly fine.
Yeah. It's because of the software.
Can anyone hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that didn't work out too well. I guess we had time. We should have did a dress rehearsal, but we didn't. There you have it. But it's just one of our theme songs, Living in the Hall of Fame. It relates to the lesson this morning, because on this particular lesson, what we are going to be focusing on is becoming world famous. World famous. And that may sound like a bit much for some of us. That who wants to be world famous? You know, I was teasing a few people about being rock stars this morning, and about Rosie having a name that could land her in Hollywood if she would have chose to. But she made it clear that's not what I'm trying to do, Jerry. So all of that, I want to welcome everyone on this call, and I'd like to give a special welcome to those of you that have joined us for the first time, and I'd like to give an even greater welcome to those of you that join us every week, because we definitely appreciate your diligence and your faithfulness in this process. We're truly honored, really, to have all of you guys on and being a part of your journey this morning. And our purpose for teaching this particular lesson is, again, entitled Being World Famous, is to help everyone have a shift in how they view and impact, how they impact the world, right? We're talking about being world famous and Hall of Fame. We want you to have a shift in how you view your impact on the world. And from that shift, what we want you to do is to come to understand how you could, how your call can be fuller, how you're called to have a fuller expression in life, right? No matter how good we're doing, one thing I learned a long time ago, we're never doing our best. We're never giving our all. That's a constant thing that we work on. And with that said, let's get the lesson started. So I'm going to be flying this Saturday, hopefully. I hear there are maybe some flights being canceled. I hope mine is not the one. But I notice when I am flying, they have the magazines in the back of the seats on the airplanes, and you guys all notice that, right? You've ever read any of those magazines? Well, what's interesting about them, if they have a lot of conversation about world famous world famous people like surgeons, the best orthopedic in the world. They have ads about, you know, the 15 or 10 best doctors in the world, ads about restaurants. You know, sometimes you'll even see the world, you know, you'll see ads about the greatest steak, right, in the world. Or, you know, it's, you know, how do you become world famous, though, is what we really want to focus on. What does it mean in your mind when we throw that out to you, being world famous? How do you actually do that is really the point of this lesson this week, or this month, I guess. But what does it really mean to be world famous? And what does it take to be world famous? We're gonna break into that this morning. But think about this for a moment. Have you ever thought about yourself being world famous? How many people have actually ever considered that even? Has it ever just a fleeting thought in your mind what it would be like to be world famous?
Yes.
How about being world famous at whatever you do? Have you ever really thought about it and what it means? I mean, actually seriously thought about it, not a fleeting thought. Really sit down and consider, what would it be like? What does it take? What does it mean to be world famous? Have you ever considered what it would look like in your life today? That's what we want you to do. What about you, Q? Have you ever considered what it would mean to be world famous?
Yeah, I feel like when I was younger, you know, you think about being famous, you know, I was like, you know, I want to be like a rapper or something, right? When I was younger. If it's being a world famous secretary or a world famous salesperson, or how about being a world famous dad, you know, or a world famous mom? What do you have to do to be world famous? You know, there's a place in Seattle. Some of you may have been there. It's called Pike Place Market. And in the Pike Place Market in Seattle, there's the world famous fish market. Any of you ever heard of it?
Yep.
World famous fish market. Who would ever think that there would be a world famous fish market, right? What makes a fish market famous? And how does a fish market become world famous? You know, what are the criteria to being world famous? What makes them world famous? Is it arrogant for them to say that they're a world famous fish market? Surely there are thousands, who knows, maybe millions of fish markets around the world, right? And when we think of world famous, we don't often associate it with a fish market. But I assure you, the Pike Place Fish Market in Seattle, Washington, is world famous. You can go there on any Saturday and there'll be literally 100 people gathered outside watching the people in the fish market work. Can you believe that? The fish market. Think about that. People taking time out of their Saturday, right? Valuable time out of their Saturday, their free time. We're all busy in our lives, right? And would you ever think of taking time and going down and watching a fish worker load salmon or clams, crabs, mussels, right? Seafood, right? Octopus. What are they doing that's so special that they're world famous?
Yeah.
Right, right. And the interesting thing, Q, is it's not only on Saturdays that they gather to watch these fish workers. I mean, during the week, Monday through Friday, there's actually a group that actually meets there every week, every Friday. And what they do is they go down and they watch these fish workers unload dead fish, you know, and they call themselves the yogurt guys. Why do they call themselves the yogurt guys? I mean, these are professional stockbrokers, insurance agents, salespeople. They call themselves the yogurt guys because they actually stop at a little yogurt shop before they go down and get some yogurt. And then they go down to the fish market and they're watching the fish workers doing their lunch break. This is how they spend their lunch. I mean, this is it. I found that pretty fascinating. I need to go and visit myself to really take all this in. This is how they actually spend their lunch hour, watching fish workers work. So I guess the question would be, what are the fish workers doing that's so extraordinary, right? What are they doing? Well, John Christensen, who is a filmmaker from Minneapolis, Minnesota, he actually had the opportunity to go and watch these world famous fish workers at the Pike Place Fish Market. And what he was doing, he was actually doing business in Seattle on a business trip. And he had some extra time on a Saturday between appointments. So he said, hey, he asked the concierge, what should I do with this free time I have? What should I do in the city? Well, you know what the concierge told him? You've guessed it. He said, you should go to the fish market. Now, the thing is, for any of you guys that have ever are familiar with Seattle, they have what they call the Space Needle in Seattle. And this is one of the major landmarks for that region of the world. It's one of the greatest symbols in that area. I mean, this thing is over 600 feet tall. It weighs over 9,000 tons. And it's not uncommon for people to wait a whole hour just to get on the elevator ride to go up to the top of the Space Needle. So think about it. This concierge at the Ritz-Carlton, he's telling the man instead, going to the Space Needle, he says, go watch a bunch of guys shovel ice and unload dead fish from the ocean. I find that interesting.
Oh yeah, no, that's very interesting. You know, so but you got to think, what has to be going on there, right? What has to be going on there? What makes them so extraordinary? So John Christensen went and he started to watch the guys at the fish market work. These guys are dressed up in these big coats, right? Gloves, hats, you can imagine, because they're handling ice all day long, right? And they're entertaining the crowd. And we're thinking, well, how could you entertain a crowd with dead fish, right? Dead seafood. I mean, how entertaining could it really be? And John said that there was something magical, something special about the way these people work. You know, they didn't just work. There was this energy there, right? There was this spark, a spirit that was mesmerizing even. You know, Thomas Troward, who you've heard us talk about in the past, you know, he wrote a wonderful essay called Entering into the Spirit of It. Entering into the Spirit of It. And Troward said that whenever we enter into a spirit of it, whether it's the spirit of authoring a book, you know, or we enter into the spirit of a game or into the spirit of a relationship, our lives are enriched. And that which we begin to live into is enriched as well. So after studying what is now known all over the world as fish philosophy, I know that is exactly what John experienced. He experienced the wonder of spirit being expressed, even in the average workday of a fish worker. And like Troward was writing about, not only was the lives of the fish workers enriched, the lives of everyone who watched were enriched. So John said it was just incredible to see how these guys just play with the audience, right? How they were just there and present for the people. He said you can walk past the fish market you couldn't walk past the fish market, right? Without somehow being engaged by one of those fish workers. You know, they don't care whether you buy fish or not, right? That's the beauty of it. You see, they don't necessarily care about the outcome. For them, it's having fun and selling fish.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? You know, not being connected to the outcome. I mean, it's almost counterintuitive, I know, for me, because I'm a goal-setting guy. You know, and I believe you've got to set goals, and you've got to get emotionally involved with the ideas that you have for goals. But see, there's a more important principle at work. That's what's going on with the fish workers. The fish workers aren't attached to the outcome as much as they're attracted or attached to the participation in getting the outcome. Let me say that again. The fish workers aren't attached to the outcome as much as they're attached to the participation in getting the outcome. See, once they set a goal to sell a certain amount of fish or shrimp or whatever they're selling, once they set the goal, they never give the goal a second thought. What they do is this: they enter into the spirit of work and they ask themselves, what am I doing to manifest what it is that I want? What am I doing to manifest the goal? Don't focus on the goal. They focus on what they're doing. They enter into the spirit of activity that's necessary to actually create what they want. They focus on being the person who can sell the amount of fish that day. I mentioned that John, the filmmaker, after seeing the fish market on that Saturday, he rushed right straight back to Minnesota, pulled his film crew off of an existing job and said, we're going to Seattle. We're filming in Seattle. And John's company, they made a film and a book about this Pike Place fish market. They called it Fish. Yes, a book and a film called Fish. And this captured this whole philosophy of fish.
Yeah. I remember when I first saw the film. Yeah, it was very interesting, you know. But John, he said this is a business philosophy when he saw this. You know, this is a business strategy, he said. This is more than a business program. This is a life program. This is how people should be living their lives. We should all have a goal of being world famous in every aspect of our lives. Now, it might not be that world famous what we would originally think about, but we'll break it down for you further, right? See, when a fish worker goes to work at the Seattle Pike Place Fish Market, they don't go to work as if they're working just any ordinary fish job, right? Or a fish market. They go to work with the intent of being world famous. That's their attitude. Their attitude is that they are world famous. That's what has made the fish market world famous, the attitude of everybody there, right? Now, I guess when they started, right, they probably weren't world famous. They probably weren't even famous in Seattle, is my guess. It was their intent, their purpose, their attitude, their participation in entering into the spirit of it, right, that made them world famous. So listen to these numbers. You know, years ago, right, when John had videotaped and interviewed the workers at the fish market, they made a 22-minute DVD, right? I know we don't even hear about DVDs anymore, right? But they made a 22-minute DVD and a small book on fish philosophy, okay? The book is one of those small books with a huge message, okay? Like, I don't know if anybody in business ever read Who Moved My Cheese. It's like one of those. It's a small book with a big message. And it's not like reading Thomas Troward or Think and Grow Rich or As a Man Thinketh. It's just a little book with a big message. John Christensen's company at that time, who knows now, had sold over $50 million worth of the book and the video in a 10-year span at that time. Nearly every Fortune 500 company had adopted all or some of the fish philosophy into their corporate culture. You believe that? $50 million on an idea from watching 12 guys go to work every day in what would appear to be a normal fish market, right? And they turned a normal fish market into an extraordinary, world famous vision. And they lived into that vision. And now the Pike Place Fish Market in Seattle, Washington is world famous.
Or at least we're going to make it world famous this morning, at least in your minds, okay? John made a great decision, didn't he, to pull that crew off? $50 million? Ah, that's incredible. And so you know, there's corporate CEOs from all over the world that come to Seattle just to watch the fish workers and to learn about this philosophy called fish. In fact, Southwest Airlines, it's not like other airlines or any other airline. I still remember my first flight on Southwest. I mean, what I'm referring to with Southwest, they're fun. And if you haven't got a chance to watch the video about Southwest, one of the flight attendants there, I'll put it in the chat so you can watch it later. But I think it's had over 900,000 views already. And you've got to check it out on YouTube. I mean, it's hysterical to listen to the difference in how Southwest operates. And not everybody in a plane starts, when you're listening to this video, you'll notice that everybody in the plane starts to laugh. I mean, they joke around on Southwest Airlines all the time. They were the first airline I've seen that were wearing shorts, in fact. So they have a total different culture, and it's a different experience. And what you'll see there is actually the fish market philosophy at work. That's how Southwest has shaped their culture. See, Herb Keller, the founder and the chairman of Southwest Airlines, he implemented the fish philosophy into their culture a long time ago. And they're one of the #1 airlines in the world as a result of it. Companies like Google, American Express, Microsoft, Dell Computers, world famous organizations, wouldn't you say? What do they all have in common? The fish market philosophy, you guessed it. They've all implemented this program in their companies. What are the principles that these fish workers came up with? Well, just stay tuned. We're going to share them with you. But certainly, you think they would be very complicated strategies, right? These have to be very deep, meaningful principles, you might be thinking even. Now, they are meaningful, and maybe they're deep, but actually they're so simple, they've almost hidden right in plain sight for every one of us to use and apply to our lives, no matter what we're doing in life, no matter what area of our life. And it's not just about how you can build a business. This is for everybody on this call. It's about how we can live our lives, how we can be world famous moms, dads, husbands, wives, whatever, how you can be world famous at any and everything that you do. That's what this philosophy is all about.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And I went ahead and I put that link in there for Southwest for you guys. And man, it's over 1 million views at this point. But have you ever considered starting your day with your children or your spouse or going to work and saying, you know what, I'm going to be world famous? Right? Probably not, right? I never had. You know, I never even contemplated it. You know, I wanted to be very good at what I did, but it just never occurred to me to be world famous, right? Why would we limit ourselves? Why would we limit ourselves? Why not be world famous in everything you do? Why not be world famous as a friend? See, we never think of a world famous friend, do we? You know, why don't we think of being a world famous mom or dad, a world famous grandma, right? World famous spouse. Typically, when we think of world famous, we think of an entertainer or an athlete, right? And certainly it works great in business, but this is how we should live every aspect of our lives. One of our mentors was in Salt Lake City one time working with a restaurant chain that hired him called Wingers back then. And, you know, he asked the owner, Eric, and his brother Scott, what is it that they wanted to create? What is it that they wanted to create? And they said they wanted to have good food, have a place where families could come and have fun. They wanted to build their brand and to expand beyond their then 40 locations, you know. And our mentor said, well, have you ever contemplated being world famous for wings and ribs? And you know what? They're like, no, it never occurred to them. You know, it never even occurred to them to be world famous. They thought, well, you know, you can't really, you know, you can have a world famous steakhouse maybe, right? A world famous seafood restaurant, but chicken wings, you know. And our mentor, he said, well, why not? Why not? They're like, well, I don't know. You know, it's just chicken wings, right? You can find those anywhere, you know? And he said, well, as long as you look at your business as it's just chicken wings, it will always be just chicken wings. Man.
Yeah, that's how most of us live our lives, right? You know, as long as you look at yourself as just a mom or just a spouse or just an employee or just a friend, just a neighbor, that's all you could possibly be. Self-defined, right? Why not become world famous in everything that you do? So you've waited long enough. What are the 4 principles that these fish workers came up with to be world famous? Well, they're really, really simple. In fact, I'm going to suggest you don't need any specialized knowledge. You don't need any specialized training to be world famous. What you do need is to decide you're going to have a maximum impact on the lives of everyone you interact with, and follow these 4 principles in doing that. So get your pen, your phone, whatever, and write these down. Number 1, be there. Number 2, play. Number 3, make their day. Number 4, choose your attitude. That's it. Be there, play, make their day, choose your attitude. See, when you go to the fish market, you can't walk by and not be engaged by the fish workers. Their mission is to engage you and make you feel special. They do this by being there for you the minute they see you. They acknowledge you, letting you know that they know you're there in their presence and that you matter to them. You matter more than emptying the boxes in front of them. So they take time to engage you. I mean, how many times have you been somewhere and the person was too busy doing their job to do their job, which was service you? There's all types of other activities going on inside of the fish market every day. But when you walk by or walk up into the presence of one of the fish workers, they immediately make eye contact with you. The fish workers lock. With everything else going on, here they are locking into you. What does it mean to lock into, Q?
Well, locking into you, that fish worker, he wants to learn, why are you here today? You know, what brought you to the fish market? Is this your first time at the fish market? Are you looking to buy fish, or are you just looking around, or you heard about how world famous we are and you just want to have some fun, right? They are there for you. Are you on vacation, in town on business? They're there for you. Are you with your family or friends? They're engaging. They're genuinely interested in you. What they're doing is they're building rapport with the person, right? They're taking an interest in that person's life. They're doing what I guess a sales strategy would call forming a person. That's FORM, forming a person. And that means that you learn what the person's values and motives are, right? So this could help a lot. They be there, okay? They be present. You know, what's a way that you can be there for your friends? Be there for your children. Be there for your spouse. Be there for your neighbors. Do you know if you just implemented that, you would be on your way to being world famous, at least to those people? Something to think about.
Definitely. So the second principle is play. Now, there's a difference between just being juvenile and playing. And the difference is this: playing with purpose is what they're doing at the fish market. When you actually watch the video of this philosophy, or if you've ever been to the Seattle fish market, you'll see somebody, order a fish. And whether it's a salmon or a snapper or tuna, whatever it is, you'll see the fish worker pick up the fish and say to the guy behind the counter, "Incoming salmon," and throw the fish right across the fish market. And everybody screams and hollers, and the guy catches the fish and just places it on the scale like it's every day, like this is everyday occurrence, right? Somebody will, order a dozen crabs, and the next thing you see is 12 crabs flying through the air. Or you'll see a bag of mussels flying through the air. Or you might see a fish worker pick up a huge hog head of snapper and carry it over to an old lady, and she's screaming, "No, no, no," and he puts it in her hands. And then she's laughing the whole time, having fun. And people are taking pictures of this in the fish market. Now, just think about that for a moment. In a fish market, people are taking pictures on vacation. These are their vacation pictures, right? They're taking pictures of fish workers handing an old lady a fish. I've never done that. See, it's not the activity, it's the spirit of play. It's the spirit of, and the intention behind this play. It's playing with her. He's being there with her. It's not about throwing fish. See, think of the things that we do every day is what we want you to consider. Think of the things you do in your business. How can you add the spirit of play to it? How can you add the spirit of play? What we want you to do is to tap back into that resource of curiosity and imagination that you had as a kid, right? I mean, I watch my grandchildren, they have fun at everything. They bring fun into everything, sometimes more than I'm interested in. But it's the way they're going to do it. It keeps it interesting. See, we want you to learn to play, to have fun, to make fun. A friend of mine, in fact, was telling me about his grandmother, and, you could tell he really, really loved his grandmother. He called her his angel on the earth. And I thought about this concept that we're teaching on this morning, being world famous. See, I'm sure she was world famous from the way he described her in his life. So I asked him, what made her world famous to you? And this is what he told me. He says, my grandmother never made pancakes without a smile on it. She placed a smile with whipped cream on every pancake she ever made as he grew up. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's just a pancake. But she made it more than a pancake. She made it special. She had fun with it. And in fact, he said that everything she did, she made it special. He said she would make a loaf of bread, and she would put a dime or a quarter or a nickel in it, and she would wrap this nickel or dime and put it in the loaf, wrap it in foil and just put it in the loaf before she baked it. And then she would slice it up. And he said that whenever they went to their grandmother's house, everybody would try their best to grab the slice of bread with the nickel or the dime in it. It's just a nickel, it's just a dime. Maybe it's a quarter, but it made it special. She had fun with it. It wasn't just the loaf of bread anymore. His grandmother made play, and that made her world famous.
Yes. And, I know a lot of us could use a little more play in our lives, right? Sometimes we get so focused on business and the economy, the stresses of the world and all these things. We can add a little play. It's important. But the next principle is make their day. They start out every single day at that fish market saying, how are you guys going to show up today so we can make somebody's day? They believe they have within them the power to create an experience for everyone they meet that would make that person's day. You're going to interact with a lot of people today. It's still early, right? On a Thursday. How are you going to make their day? What are you going to do today that's going to create an extraordinary experience for someone today? What are you going to say to somebody? How are you going to be there for them? How are you going to play with someone in such a way that makes their day? Think of how many times we go to the grocery store and we barely even make eye contact with the person who's ringing up our groceries, right? We have become so preoccupied with our own lives that we don't even allow into our awareness that we're not being there for them. We tell ourselves we don't have time to play around, right? It's business. We don't have time to play around. I'm on a schedule, right? It's not my responsibility to make somebody's day. Well, why is that my responsibility? We think of ourselves as just another customer, right? Have you ever thought about going to the grocery store and being a world famous customer? Probably not, right? Think of that for a minute. Being a world famous customer. When all the checkout people see you walking in the store and all they hope for is that you go to their register because they know there's something special about you. They know you're going to be there for them. You're going to play, right? And your very presence is going to make their day. What's a way that you can make somebody's day? There's a great book called The 5 Love Languages. And if you haven't read it or gotten it, you may want to consider buying it. It's a great book. The author's name is Gary Chapman, okay? By studying the book, you can become very aware of your own and other people's love languages, how they feel loved, right? What makes them feel loved. And once you understand someone's love language, you can make their day so easily. I don't want to sidetrack too much on the message today, but I will quickly share what those 5 love languages are. We won't go into too much depth, but those are affirmation, gifts, acts of service, quality time, and physical touch. Once again, those are affirmation, gifts, acts of service, quality time, and physical touch. So once you know someone's love language, you can begin to speak to them at levels that create maximum impact, right? Some of you may know I got married recently, right? I got married in February. And one of my wife's love languages is quality time. That's probably her biggest one, but she has another love language of gifts, right? Now, of course, she likes expensive gifts, but for her, it's not about the gift, okay? It's truly the thought. So the price doesn't really matter to her, And I'll give you an example. When I'm in Brazil, some of you know I'm pretty much going back and forth to Brazil right now, halftime. And when I'm in Brazil, a lot of times I'll just go to the grocery store. Everything's pretty much in walking distance in that neighborhood. I'll go to the grocery store to buy groceries or whatever it is. And a lot of times I'll just pick up a chocolate bar for her, right? When I go to the store and give it to her. That's a small gift, right? But it just lets her know that while I'm at the grocery store getting, you know, meat or eggs or whatever it is, I was thinking about her. And, you know, that chocolate bar makes her day. It really makes her day. Now, that might have cost me $1, right? Just imagine I can make somebody's day for $1. I think that's a great trade-off, right? I become a world famous husband for $1. And the intention of making her feel special. See, we really want to start to think, you know, in the next 365 days, right? You know, this year is almost over. In the next 365 days, you're going to create another year of your life. And you're either going to do that by design or by default, right? Which one do you choose? You can live your life by default, just let things happen, reactionary, right? Or you can live your life by design, where you're creating your life. The choice is yours.
And that said, choice is the last principle. The choice is choosing your attitude. Choosing your attitude. See, look, I'm not looking at the world myself through rose-colored glasses. I've been around the block a few times. I know there's bad stuff. I know life has had lots of bad stuff in it. I know there's big bags of bad stuff sometimes in our lives. We all have bad stuff, but the truth is, there's always going to be bad stuff in our lives. I tell business owners this all the time. They say the economy is bad. There's always going to be bad economies. That can't be your reason that you're failing. You're always going to have stuff going on. I know not long, you know, we've all heard of the big crash, the stock market. Well, they had the anniversary not long ago, and it was about when the stock market lost 777 points. I was watching CNN, and when you're watching it, you would have thought the world was going to end, but it actually didn't. We have evidence of that today, right? People still had babies. People still started businesses. People still got married. People still had christenings. In other words, life went on. Even though there was a lot of bad stuff, life goes on. There were foreclosures, there were businesses that closed, there were divorces, there were deaths. And in all of that, the only power anyone has is to choose the power to choose your own attitude. That's the only power any of us have. Stuff's going to always happen. The power to enter into the spirit of, I want to design my life rather than our lives being created by default. I don't know about you. That's very important to me. So we want to be there. We want to play. We want to make their day. And we want to choose our attitudes. It makes all the difference in the world on how you're going to show up.
Man, that is powerful. You know, it's not very common that we think about the significance we have in the lives of other people. You know, just how important we can be for someone else. You know, you could go to the grocery store not choosing your attitude, not choosing to be world famous, not living your life by design, and just be another customer every week for the next 52 weeks and interact with people and have no impact on the quality of their life. And you can choose that type of life. Or you can make a decision that you're going to be significant in someone else's life. Do you realize the power you have? Do you realize the power you have each and every day? You have the power to be there for another person, to make another person's day. You know, we're not gifted with many days, right? Like I said, you know, this year, if we're lucky, we'll get only 365 of them, right? How you choose to spend those seconds within those days is up to you. You can be the person that impacts, creates significance, that adds value, that lifts up, you know, that person that's there for someone one of their 365 days. If you do that often enough in your relationships, in your friendships, in your marriage, with your kids, with your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your aunts, your uncles, anyone you come in contact, your neighbors, right? With the man or woman at the grocery store, with your community, you will become world famous. Being world famous, it's an idea to contemplate, isn't it? You see, I don't think any of us can imagine the rewards that we get by living a world famous life. For sure, you'll make someone else's day, but you know what? There's more than that, right? When you begin to recognize your true potential, your true power to make someone else's day, as you begin to tap into the resources of curiosity and imagination, you begin to realize and believe in your own significance. That's the key, right?
That is the key, to know that I have significance. You have significance. In fact, I want you to just say that to yourself right now. You don't have to unmute. Just say to yourself, I have significance.
I have significance.
There you go.
Yes,
How did that feel, Q?
Hey, I feel great.
Okay. Yes, I have the power to add meaning to someone else's life. That's why we coach. That's why we love this. It's at the heart of what we do and how we show up. In one of the ways we show up with our significance. And then in doing that, it will also enrich your life. See, when you look in a mirror, you'll see something different within you. You'll see the power inside of you that can impact everyone you come in contact with. Isn't that why we were created in the first place? You know, you may have thought this lesson to be a little grandiose. No, this is why we were created, to impact each other's life. And you think it was meant to be, let's be subtle about it? No, it was meant to be world famous. It's a choice we can make. It's not only do we enrich our lives, the lives of others, we enrich our own lives by doing this. We wake our own selves up by doing this. See, John Christensen, he was half right. This is a fantastic business program, but it's also a fantastic way to live our lives. It's more than a business program. It's a great life program. Be there, play, make their day, choose your attitude. I think it's a good idea to take the time, not just to learn, not just to lean into this concept, but to begin to live from this concept. There's a difference, isn't it? When you do that, when you live from it. When you lean into it, you say that you want to become this person. When you live from it, you're saying, I am this person. And those words, those two words are the most powerful words spoken in the universe. I am. I am. When you make another person's day, what you're saying to yourself is, I am significant. When you play with another person, you're saying to yourself, I am creative. When you're there for another person, you're saying to yourself, I am compassionate. And when you say to another person who chooses my attitude, you're saying to yourself, I am in control of my life, regardless of the stuff. You have certainty. And with all that comes a completely new set of choices for our lives. Everything changes when we change. So we want to encourage everybody on the call this morning to make a decision right now to try for the next, no, I guess I don't want to say try. I want you to make a decision for the next 4 weeks to be world famous. Live a world famous life for the next 4 weeks and see how you like it. See, if fish workers in Seattle, if they can do this with dead things from the ocean, I mean, this is, unheard of. You can certainly do it in your life with all you've got going on. This has been our lesson. We want to hear from everybody this morning. We stop at the official class ends at 9, but we're always open to listening to, because we love the feedback on what you got from the lesson. So if you've got to leave at 9, then I would jump right out. Not 9. What is it? Whatever it is for you. And if you got,
we got a couple more hours.
we have 6 minutes right now. So if you have to leave in the next 6 minutes, I would be one of the first to jump out and give us your feedback. And if you don't get in the next 6 minutes, we'll stay to hear from everybody. And E. Marie or Coach Q will put a link in the chat for those of you that would like to hear the rest of these 4 weeks. It costs you $1. Just sign up, check out the rest of this lesson, because we're going to break it down. We're going to mastermind it. You're going to leave here fully knowing how to do this. It's $1. If you like it, stay with us on our next lessons. If not, just cancel your membership. That's the offer we have for you. So who would like to go first and share with us what stood out for you? What did you get out of this morning's lesson? Take 30 seconds or less and share that with us. Mother Mays, she's world famous in my life. Okay.
I just want to say I'm just thankful for the leadership's edge. I'm grateful for it. And it gives you a chance to know what's within you, and the ideas that you bring forth gives you a way to bring it out, how to better your life, how to better someone else's life. It has had an impact on me. It makes me a little emotional.
Well, you make me a little.
As you were talking, the tears were coming to my eyes, because I know there's things within me that have helped everybody. Being there means a whole lot. Sometimes just being there, you don't have to say anything. Just your presence will make a difference in someone's life. I'm finished. I gotta stop.
Well, you made a difference in our life. We'll never forget you. Okay. Who else would like to share? So did she share enough for everybody, or Victor's going to share? Go for it.
Yeah, I'm going to share. So actually, I'm just following up of what Mother Laura was saying. It's just be there. I just remember my granny. She always told me, she was by my side, and all that I want nowadays is like, sometimes I do my best with my English, but sometimes I work with customer service. It's just being there for them, acknowledge them. That makes a huge impact in their lives. And sometimes they are so grateful for the experience they have with myself. I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't know that I can do that. So you never know what's going on with other people's lives, but just being there, that makes a huge difference. And I see that on myself with a lot of my friends. Thank you.
Thank you for being here this morning. Hope to see you next week. Who else? What stood out for you? And just you unmute yourself and just go for it. I think it's Letitia. And then we'll get to you, Yasha, next. Go ahead, Letitia.
Yes, I mean, I like their philosophy, because I try to live my life exactly like that on a daily. trying to go in the store to be friendly, because you never know what someone else may need for that particular day. So yes, I kind of follow that because I've been there, and you know how it's to go in a store and everybody's all frowned up, or just out in the world and everybody's all frowned up all the time. So I try, when I see people, to speak positivity into them, as I would hope others would do for me. That's it.
All right, Miss McCain. Yasha.
Good morning. I like to think of the spiritual principle of you never know. You may be the only Bible that some people read. So you have to walk, talk, and live in Jesus' name. Just, some people don't know like what it looks like, or she was just saying, you don't know what people are dealing with behind closed doors. So it's always good to be that. I like the principle. The one that I like was the play. Not necessarily that you have to play with people, but going to the barber school, I have a lot of older gentlemen that come in and get hair shaved and face shaved, and they just need a quick haircut, some of them, but some of them just want a cup of coffee, and it's just, when I'm teasing them or playing around with them, or, hey, how you doing? Good morning. And then after they finish getting their haircut, oh, don't hurt them. I don't need you stopping traffic outside. It's just those little things, and they look, these people are like late 70s, early 80s, and they're looking at me like, all right, girl, all right, you better come here now, and it's a lot of fun to do. Like, I know they're not going to do nothing, but it's just that mindset of, like, making them feel good. And I like to do that even with the students, like when we're playing around, even when I'm getting on them about something, like, you cute, but you can't wear that. So I just think that tactfulness side of it, it's just a really good principle. I'm sorry I got on late. I'm trying to get my life together, y'all. But it's wonderful getting on and hearing it and motivating, just to make somebody else's life different, and to know that I do have purpose. Because I think we go to those limited beliefs sometimes where it's like, man, what am I here for? Am I walking in my purpose? But things like this makes me realize I really am walking in my purpose.
All right, awesome. And before Alona speaks, real quick, if you know of anybody that could really benefit from this lesson, make sure you reach out to whoever invited you, and we'll get you a recording of it so you could share it with them, and invite them next week to come and catch the rest of it, but they can get caught up. Alona, please.
Hello, I'm there. You see me? Okay. You hear me. So I'm just so grateful to my mentor for telling me about this, for inviting me to this, and I shall return. I have $1. I need to know where to send it so I can become a member. But this was just so edifying of just being who you are authentically.
Awesome. I think, Q, did we put it in the link in the chat?
Yeah, I wrote in the chat that we're currently transferring our whole platform and website to another platform. So we don't have the link for you now, but just go ahead and jump on using the same link next Thursday.
And if you're interested, put your number in the chat, and I'll send you a link, because I can get I forgot, we don't have that site up. I'll get you a link where you can sign up. So everybody that's interested, put your name and your number in the chat, and I'll send you one today of where you can sign up for $1.
Or you can send it privately if you'd like to, if you don't want to put it on the main chat.
Yeah. Who else? What did you get out of the lesson?
I'll go. I have inside me the same way that Miss Mother Laura was explaining. I have that same feel inside of me, information on, what I'm saying, who I am really, my character, my personality, because like being there, play, making someone's day, choosing your attitude. Every morning, I've been just like choosing to have that positive attitude. And I know for a while, since I was young, I can go to the store, and whether it's a cashier, when I talk to, I'm always saying conversation, but to hear them out and just trying to, I guess, uplift their spirits. And so it was just confirmation on who I already am and who I'm growing and maturing to be.
Awesome, my brother. Awesome. Who's next? What did the rest of you guys get out of this morning? What stood out for you? What could you share that would bless us all?
I'll go.
Go for it.
This is Jay. So I learned a couple things. So one of them is attitude. I think all of us go through tough times, sometimes, or maybe all the time, or but I think it comes down to how we respond to those obstacles and how we present them to people. Let's say we're having a rough day at home with our family or whatever, right? But I think it's important to, whenever we go, it's important to just stay positive, stay optimistic. That the tough times is just temporary, maybe just for a day or so, but it's not forever. But bad moment, bad time or rough time, and the second thing I learned is that I think all of us have, like we mentioned earlier, we're all of us are significant, are important. So, I kind of like, it's a great reminder that we're not just. I think, I'm a high believer of God, or I respect whatever people believe in. I respect whatever they believe in. But I think God brought us with the purpose of, like, I think we kind of mentioned this earlier, that we're here with a purpose, to make, just kind of like to help people out whatever we can, to hopefully make their day feel better, or make their day in some way, somehow, some way. But so yeah, I like them, man. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Jay. We hope to see you next week.
Thank you.
Who's next?
I'll go. Remember your neighbors, just not your next door, right next to you, is anybody other than yourself. So even if you read the Bible, whatever you believe in, treating somebody the way you would truly like to be treated, if you really think about that, in the long run, you'll make somebody's day, it's going to be better. You truly treat somebody the way you like to be treated in every situation, bad situations, this and that. And if you think about that, automatically, you either going to make somebody's day smile, because you always want to be treated in a nice way, no matter what the situation is, and with respect and all that. So think about that. Anybody other than yourself, how you treat them and how you really want to be treated in that situation too. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ro.
Excellent. What about Akira? You available to speak? And if you are speaking, you're muted. Going once. Going twice, Akira. All right, maybe she's busy at the moment. Oh,
did y'all start early today?
The time.
There was a time change for some people. Arizona stays the same.
Okay, I'm thinking 9 o'clock. And when I picked up my cell phone, I looked to see if I had gotten a message from Marie, and I see I did. But hey, okay. I'll try to go back and look at it later.
Yeah, we'll send you the recording.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Sorry about that. Yes.
All right.
Who's next?
Akira says she's unable to talk.
Right, I saw it. Yep, thank you.
Hey, it's Bonita. Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Hey, I was just going to hop on real quick and just say what I got from it. I just remember one of my takeaways was my husband does the same thing. Like, he'll bring home little pieces of candy to me, like you were saying, Coach. And it's funny because, yeah, it does. It definitely makes sure that I will tell you that after a while, your wife's going to ask you to stop bringing home the chocolate because of her weight loss goals, but it doesn't mean we don't appreciate it. So, but yes, that's so true. And so, because of him doing that, it makes me think of different ways that I can reciprocate or do the same for him. So, it's not going to be chocolate for him, but it might just be a text message saying, "Hey, babe, I appreciate everything you do for our family," or saying that to him when he gets home and giving him a hug or something like that. But yeah, it's just finding different ways to be that little spark in somebody's day. And when you realize that that little spark is everything, it's not even little. You think of it as little when you're doing it at the time, but then you realize, wow, that was the thing that actually made their day. So I just appreciated this whole conversation. And it just reminds me, also, the other day, my daughter, they asked me at two different times too. One, my 15-year-old asked me, and then my 10-year-old asked me at another time in the same day. And they're like, "What's your goal this month, Mom?" And I said, "Executive director." And my daughter said, "Well, you did that last month." And I said, "I know, I'm going to do it again this month." And she said, "You got to do it every month, Mom?" And I was like, I was like, well, yeah. They're like, "Well, doesn't that get boring?" I said, "Well, I do it with different people every month." I was like, "So it's exciting to take other people with me every month." And they said, "Well, what's your other goal?" I said, "Well, $50,000 before the end of the year." They said, "Okay, what can I do to help you with that?" And I don't know, it's just them just having an interest in my goal made my day. And just being able to talk with them about it, I think made their day because they felt like they were part of it. So just being mindful of the people that are around you, even if it's your kids, even if it's your spouse, not just saying it's just my kids or it's just my spouse, but these are important characters in your life and in your day. And so we should treat them as such. So that's what I took away from the training.
Well, yeah, that's incredible. I love your daughters.
Oh, me too. Thanks.
And Akira did write in the chat, big takeaways. I learned that everything I do is significant. Being intentional with my own life will deeply impact everyone around me. That's a great takeaway. Thank you for sharing. Yep. Anybody else want to share? We're hanging out if anybody else wants to share. That doesn't mean you weren't impacted, right? You're just not sharing.
They can't put it into words.
Yeah. Speechless.
So powerful.
Speechless.
You know, I would like to say something. I'm on the way to work right now. I'm just gonna be brief. You know, just hearing everybody speak and just hearing some of the information that we got from today. It just, I read the Bible. You know, I remember hearing something in the Bible and it stood out to me. It said when Jesus looked at the people with compassion, and that's when he moved to do miracles. And I think we have to get to the point as people, and we always move with compassion. And I think that compassion is really what opens up the doors for the miracles, the signs, and the wonders to take place. Always be compassionate. I feel like that's what the world is missing today. You don't have enough people that got compassion for other people.
Mm.
And that's the key. He say, looked at the people with compassion. And you can see it a couple different times in the scriptures when he say the same or use that word compassion. And I think that's what we missing. People, the world, we lost compassion for each other. And somehow, you know, when we get that compassion back, we'll see great things and greater things take place. And that's all I wanted to share.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think you're spot on.
Right.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I think Kat put something in my text message. Let me see. Oh, she said she's on the phone. She's muted. Can you unmute her?
Okay, let's see.
Probably has to unmute herself. I don't know.
Yeah, I can click to ask her to unmute. which I'll
Okay.
do now. But let's see it.
And for anybody that's still on, I did find the link that you can go and join for the $1 if you want to right now. So I put it in the chat.
Okay.
I think I'm unmuted now.
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you to Jerry and Quentin both for this message this morning. To our leaders, I want to thank Miss Bonita for letting them know that I was muted. And I just wanted to say that I do live and I try to live my life encouraging other people all day and just all day in conversations and things, because I know that it does help them with the rest of their day. And not just that, but I get something myself for doing that. And I'm encouraged internally. And so I just want to say thank you for this message, because it makes a lot of sense. So it's just what you put out there is reciprocated. And I just think we should remember that as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kat. I know you're recovering. For you to jump on, it means a lot to us.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm here. So like I said, I'm grateful to be here, and it's my pleasure to hear you guys speak.
Thank you for being here.
Anyone else that would like to, who else would like to speak? I'll say, share with us what you got. And it's important that you guys share, because what happens many times, what you share is maybe more important than what we talk. Okay. So you never know how it's going to impact someone. We see that a lot here. So make sure you share so that others, because this is essentially a mastermind. So that said, are there any other takers that would like to share? Felicia, anyone that hasn't, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Come back next week.
Yeah. Well, we will let everyone go. We're off to a networking event here. So we will let you. Okay, somebody had something to add?
I'll just ask, what's the topic this month?
It's being world famous.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, hey, that's inspiring, right?
Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you.
We'll make sure we get the link to you.
Okay. Yes, please. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, everyone. Great to see you all. And we'll see you back same time next week.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Remember the time change.
Thank you.
Oh, yes.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day,
Yes.
everyone.
Have a nice day, everyone.
Have a
You
good one.
too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.